Hello, I'm Jacob with Exploring History, and today we're going to be exploring the group called the Kurds, and talking about just who are the Kurds and what their current situation in the world is. You may have heard of the Kurds recently in news involving Turkey or ISIS. Now, they are people within the mountainous regions between Syria, Turkey, and Iraq, and they are actually the fourth largest ethnic group in the Middle East, numbering around 25 to 35 million people. And despite this large group of people, they have never actually had a country of their own. And a majority of them are Sunni Muslim, and the Kurds have actually been striving for a state of their own for quite a long time. The first nationalist movement can be tracked back to around 1880, and it was conducted by a landowner, but was ultimately crushed by the Ottoman Empire. Now, there was hope after World War I that the Kurdish people would receive a country of their own because of the Treaty of Sèvres, but the Allies did not hold through with the state they drew up, and the Treaty of Lausanne didn't see the setup of a Kurdish state. Instead, it put the Kurds within multiple countries, making them a minority group in all those countries, and would prove very harmful to the Kurdish people. Now, the Kurdish state would have multiple conflicts with the country of Turkey. Now, Turkey consists of about 15 to 20% of Kurdish people, and the reason for all the conflict between the Kurdish people and the government of Turkey is because the government of Turkey actually tried to wipe out the Kurdish culture by banning Kurdish names, banning Kurdish costumes, banning the Kurdish language, and just started calling them Mountain Turks. But then, as a result of all this, in 1978, a man named Abdul Öcalan established the PKK, which called for an independent state within Turkey for the Kurds. 6 years later, the group began an armed struggle, and it resulted in about 40,000 people to die. As well as having other conflicts with the Turkish government, Kurdish rebels nowadays, the groups called the YPG and PYD, have been one of the main forces against ISIS in the Middle East. And at the moment, many nations have been considering the idea of a Kurdish state, because just ignoring the Kurds is not going to work anymore as they become more powerful, as they get supplied by people like America, and it will ultimately be impossible to ignore the Kurdish people's struggles for very much longer. And hopefully the world community will do something and will act and send some aid, and maybe even set up their own country. And in a recent video, I talked about how the British and the French made borders like this, which would set up borders that made large ethnic groups minorities in many countries, when they could have just made that ethnic group one country. And the Kurds are definitely not the only example of this, and the only group that has this issue in the Middle East, but these are just who we decided to cover today. And I really hope you enjoyed, and thanks. I'm Jacob with Exploring History, and I'll see you guys later.